What's going on here?
Who would you like to give the advantage to in this type of matchup? It's gonna be difficult to see the cards line up until we see them play, but
I like the removal in James's deck, but junk tokens, like you said, last few weekends have been doing really well. Obviously, Dan Jordan piloting the deck. You can't really complain too much about that. Okay, we have an isolated chapel played, involving wild turned into a mountain for James. Now, I almost wonder, because this is a rug deck, and we don't really see rug decks anymore,
right,
that this might be a disadvantage to Matthew here, just because the angles that James are coming in at, granted with Huntmaster and Thorcast, and are normal, but you're not used to seeing Cyclonic Rifts and Mizium Mortars and Devil's Play even.
Right, it's nice to the cards is like the combination of them.
Yeah.
He has a lot of spells, but still finds room for 4 Jaces. So it might be a combination that's in him. So looks like Matt's going to pass on Isolated Chapel and Forest.
Yeah.
So kept a hand with no 1s or 2s. I think that's a big problem you see in a lot of decks. A lot of these decks just don't play 1 mana or 2 mana cards these days, and as things will get streamlined, you'll see less of this land pass, these type of game. And
there's the Key Ruin.
Key Ruin taps immediately for Avacyn's Pilgrim.
So now he's up to ability to have 5 mana next turn.
Even 6 with a 4th land drop.
All right, looks like James has Island, another land in his hand. So tap 4. Jace.
Jace, the Architect of Thought, and believe it is going to tick up. That is a very visible 5 on the Jace tag.
Okay.
So time for Matt to do his worst. Another Key Rune. And an Oblivion Ring. So a pretty solid turn for Matt, even without a 4th land.
That gets him up to 6 playable mana. He also has another Pilgrim in his hand, which gives him the ability to have 7 playable mana. And he's got the Jace already, Oblivion Ring. That's Strag Dusk. That will take James up again in life.
One thing I really appealing about these blue-green decks, whether or not the extra color is red or white or both, is that they have the opportunity to gum up the board with Thragtusk. Like, it's going to be difficult for Matthew to punch through, although that's one of his better ways.
Yeah, Armada Worm.
Yeah. But even then, like, James is going to be able to play his Tamiyo. Lockdown like the Beast token, and trade with the actual Armada Worm.
He does have another one available to him in the deck, so there could be another chance of seeing a second Armada Worm. That is 2 green and a white for a trample. 5/5 trample when it comes to play. Put another 5/5 green worm token onto the field with trample. Okay, taps for 5.
Okay, so he's in the double Thragtusk plan.
And
he does have a Cyclonic Rift in hand, so I'm not sure he wants to trade for the worm, but he absolutely the worm token. But he absolutely wants to trade for the Armada Worm itself.
Passes James up to 30 now.
Yeah, and you see these games are this game's gonna go long. It's who's got the bigger end game, because neither player decided to do things early.
Okay, looks like a Restoration Angel here.
Oh jeez.
Yep. Bring it back. Kill your 2 Thragtusk. Kill your Thragtusk, come back with another token.
Yeah, so, well, Matthew loses one of his tokens, he just replaces it again. And given this, I actually would have loved to see James just take the worm token hit.
He also has another Restoration Angel in his hand, so if it worked well the first time, we can do it again next turn.
Yeah, wow, this could have been a crippling play because I'm almost positive James has a Cyclonic Rift in his hand. Also, he has it's not going to be great, but it's going to be okay. I believe that's a Mizium Mortars.
And like you said before, he has Tameo and Farseek also in his hand.
So if he has, I believe I see 3 red, but nope, we're going to Farseek first and try and set up a very crippling Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah, because that right now is the one thing that could really devastate him. Because he needs
And
6.
he's got plenty, because of the 2 Thragtusk, he's got a ton of life to work with.
Yeah, he's got 6 in a blue. He needs 6 in a blue to do that, and he has
Now he
availability
has it, yeah.
now to get 6 in a blue to be able to cast that spell. Now, that is weird because I haven't seen Cyclonic Rift as much as I thought I would see it out there. But to see it ultimate would be quite interesting. Okay, we're going to do it again. The Thragtusk block.
I think this works.
So now does he do the Restoration Angel again? Looks like that's what his call is, okay. But yeah, that will set up next turns, like you said, Cyclonic Rift. Where
Yeah, this Rift is going to be... oh my gosh.
well,
I don't know. He just... he went through all the effort to set up a fantastic Rift and then just didn't cast it. Just didn't overload it.
well, that was interesting. I'm wondering, wow.
Yeah, James could have just very easily run away with this game, and that was just a huge misstep from James. He's going to be able to overload the Mizium Mortars to get some of it, but that's not all of it.
No, and he gets to bring the worm back next turn.
He's going to need a mana source to do that, but still, he could have been, with 8 power in play against nothing. 8 power and a Jace, no less. But yeah. And the thing is, the fact that he got an extra token out of... James prevented an extra token, but the token was just going to die, disappear anyway.
All right, he swings in for 8. That'll take Matt down to 12.
No. So 8, and then basically any of the... Ooh, here comes the Groog. This one had a Thragtusk in hand and I was going to play that, but Garrick's going to do a lot of the same work.
Well, the Beast token will block, kill either Thragtusk or his opponent. Is a token that comes through too.
Yeah, and James is basically locked in on playing his Tameo and tapping the worm token from Armada Worm. That's still left over.
Looks like
James thinking about it nonetheless.
Yeah, it looks
with
like
land and Tameo in his hand. Not land.
Trying to look at Matthew's hand. Thragtusk, Pilgrim. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tameo. Tapping the worm.
And then, okay, so not sure where they went. Okay, yeah, it did take Garrick down to 1.
Yeah, that's gonna need that. He's gonna need that 6th land.
Yeah, I think he's in pretty good shape with a Thragtusk and an active Thragtusk in hand, active Garruk in hand, but I believe a 6th land would actually just shut the door on James, especially if it comes in any reasonable time frame.
Well,
even if it doesn't, he still has he has another key rune in hand. He also has a Avacyn's Pilgrim. So if he's willing to spend an extra turn or two developing his board, he can get to that Armada Worm again.
And a Thragtusk now to take him back up to 17.
Right. So Matt's in no danger of losing in any way, shape, or form this game.
Well, it all comes back to that Rift.
Yeah, that Rift would have been crippling because not only does it pick up everybody, including the 5/5 token, but it picks up the 2 key runes and the Oblivion Ring. Like both of them are just huge. All right, so 2. Okay, so 2 tokens come in, kill the Garruk Primal Hunter, and then Tamio -2s so on himself, so he can draw 2 cards. And one of those 2 cards is a Thragtusk to take him back up to the place we began, 20 life.
All right, but the good thing about it is Matthew does have another Garruk in his hand to be able to play it out again if he would like to choose to get more.
Other copy of that?
Yeah.
Great for him. So yeah, he can go back to wolf mode. He does need to kill the Tamio this turn if he can help it. Oh wow, so Matt decided to use the sorcery mode on Garruk Primal Hunter to draw 5 cards.
Nothing wrong with that. He drew a Sorin.
Maybe he drew a land, but
A land would have been helpful, and that's probably he might have been going for a land.
Yeah,
that's part of one of the things he was probably coming for.
So if I'm Matt, I'd probably send exactly what he's doing. Send both of his tokens into the Tamio. Make sure you kill it.
Oh, he's just gonna let it go.
Right. He doesn't want to trade his Thragtusk for the 5/5.
And remarkably enough, James only has a Steam Vents in his hand right now. Okay, another Pilgrim. That will get him to a 6th land that he needs.
Yeah. So just played one. So I believe this game is pretty much over. James is going to shuffle his 2 lands back and forth a little bit. And plays one and probably just ships the turn.
Yeah, because next turn Matt gets to play the Armada Worm, and now the board just starts to get it really big.
I mean, granted, when you draw 6 from Garruk and you still have a better board, you're probably in good shape.
I believe now he has 2 Sorins in his hand.
Perfect.
I like the fact that, I mean, even though it's technically not a land, that he pulls the Pilgrim back just so he knows, hey, I have 7, and here comes the army, which should be probably met by a bunch of chump blocks.
I believe if I were James, I would put. Okay, so he's just going to trade off everything. Not the play I would make, simply because James needs to draw something. He can't afford for this race to continue, or this trading, not a race. He needs to race. I'm saying he needs to draw his other Cyclonic Rift.
So he lets the Armada Worm come through to leave his Thragtusk back, correct? So he can.
Yeah, or even additionally take a bunch of damage. One thing, the only block I would have made, I would have put both my 3/3s on the 5/5. That would be the one block I would have made.
Okay.
But James is just in a lose later position right now. By decimating his own board, he really gives himself nothing to draw left.
And there's Sorin, which now will create a token for him.
So, I mean, regardless of how James plays, he's, very likely to lose this game. Matt just has so much. But if James has a very fortunate set of draws or whatever, it's conceivable that with an army, James could win the game.
Okay, we're going to tap 3 Lingering Souls.
Got Soul. So at least he's getting a little bit more information from Matt's deck.
And now he'll be setting up that Sorin to hit 6. Think Twice by James.
Think again. Think Twice.
Ah.
I call the front half of Think Twice, Think Once.
Think half?
No, you do it twice.
Oh, okay. Okay, more land for James.
I believe he'd do another Think Twice, more thinking.
Okay, there's Think Twice.
And that drew a land. I believe the final flashback.
Yeah, I believe he has 2 lands in his hand right there.
Pair of steam vents that I'm still not comfortable looking at. Used to the original Ravnica art, and new steam vent art just doesn't sit right with me yet.
If you're James here, now he does have answers for this board state. He does, potentially.
Sort of, yeah.
But if he's peeking over at the clock, which I don't think he is, it's 35 minutes. I mean, the clock is now starting.
For them, it's 35 minutes.
Yeah.
When you, one thing that's nice about being a camera feature match, you get your own clock.
Oh, that's right. It's usually 5 minutes off or something like that.
Yeah, you can just ask the table judge for time.
Okay, he created a token. That will take him down some more, down to, I believe, 18, if I'm not correct. The land. That's 6 mana. That could be our friend the Armada Worm again. I like the fact he has the Sever, he has the Oblivion Ring. Matt's got a lot of answers in his hand, so if James brings anything of relevance out, Matthew can pretty much take care of it immediately. There's the Armada Worm.
I mean, I guess that happens when you draw 5 extra cards.
Yes.
So yeah, Matthew clearly in a dominant position here. Desperation, think twices. Well, there's one of them. That's one way that James actually gets back into the game. I drew his Cyclonic Rift. So this is going to have to be very, very good for him. He has this. He'll be able to cast his, activate his Jace that's hidden under the Oblivion Ring. But back to what I was saying earlier, if James has an army, he can threaten lethal very shortly. But I think this is going to be too little, too late.
Well, he passed turn back to Matt. Matt drew, another land.
A second emblem,
and that will end Soren's existence, and he will play the other Soren.
Can we get another ultimate? I love the Soren immediate ultimate of.
So you will have 3 tokens out there for that. And
I got more things to do.
Oblivion Ring that.
Oblivion Ring your beast.
Okay, that gets Oblivion Ringed away.
Cyclonic Rift is going to undo everything temporarily. Matthew goes through the long, arduous process of scooping all the permanents he used to have in play.
Well,
I gotta pick up those Oblivion Rings. Not done yet. Yep, got them all. Now Matthew with a low number of cards in his hand. Can't possibly be more than 12.
It's got some choices to make when it comes to discarding. I mean, he'll try to play something.
They play probably his Pilgrims. And then he's probably got 8 or so cards in hand now.
Yeah, you could probably get rid of 1 or 2 of the key runes.
Yeah, it looks like he got rid of one of them.
Okay, so he's back down to 7.
So if Jace can be a very stacked 7-card hand all by itself, then James has got this game wrapped up.
Okay, he does. He's going to make a decision here which 2 cards he wants.
3 very good cards for the situation.
Yeah, I would keep. It's interesting that
I like that split.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. Basically, it makes him choose between if he gives any of the Huntmaster with any other card, James immediately takes that pile and has then a removal spell and a Huntmaster. Now he just has 2 removal spells. So no actual way to stop Matt from just like slowly building up his army again, and not really giving James much value out of his Cyclonic Rift. Because he basically just removed James's threat base.
Right.
Cyclonic Rift is basically very good when you're ahead, or you have this board stall. It might even be like the new Bonfire.
Speaking of Bonfire.
I think there's a more stable card. It's in James's deck. He cast it earlier. Had a very similar effect.
Yeah, Mizium Mortar?
Mizium Mortars is actually just... Basically, if Mizium Mortars was splashable, it would have... people would same type of discussions. Bonfire is actually only situationally insane.
I like what Matt did there. He played Sorin, got a token, because he's got all those other tokens up there. Then played a key ruin to help get his mana up there quicker.
There's no way James just won this game. How many? James just drew his singleton copy of Devil's Play.
Well,
holy crap!
He's not going to hit him for 17 with it though.
It flashes back.
Yes, it does. But how much he's got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got a lot.
He's got a bunch.
This is going to be an interesting decision. He took the okay.
He has the lands.
Yes.
And the other thing about James isn't out of the woods yet, because that innocuous lifelink token from Sorin is actually a 4/1. So that's going to gain Matt 4 life, and that's a big 4 life, I believe.
I think he's calculating it in right now.
Yeah.
As you looked at that, going, yeah, that's a 4, and more than likely.
Wow, this game just got interesting. It might be something where
he paid it to life. So he
I haven't done the math. We'll see. He's fireballing. Fireball you.
So it'd be 1, 2, 7, 12.
I count 6,
right? 5,
11, 14.
Oh, could be
6 on top, 5 in the middle.
Okay.
3 plus the 1 for Devil's Play.
Okay.
So that'll be for 14. So that should actually do it. It's actually going to be plenty.
Amazing.
So the lifelink token is actually not irrelevant.
The one of in his hand.
This is just like an insane sequence of rips. His second and final Cyclonic Rift. He only plays 2, and his 1 Devil's Play got him out of this game that I think he had locked up on turn 6 or 7, but decided not to overload his first Cyclonic Rift. But
okay. Yeah, he takes it.
These are the types of games that these are why people play one-ofs.
I would never have thought that card could have, because you don't.
I didn't think this game was even remotely winnable for James, but he drew, running one-outers basically.
And he doesn't have
the
well, he's gonna go try
power and play. He has 4 things, so it's a 7 plus 4, and that only brings James to 6. And that's not going to do it. This flashback Devil's Play is going to end it. If Matt plays a Thragtusk, does that get him out of it? But I don't think he has one.
The worm's not going to do anything.
The worm's not going to do anything. Yeah, all James has to do is remember that his card has flashback.
All right.
Yeah, he's lining up the mana. Yeah, what do you at less than 8 billion?
Alright. That will do it. Game 1 to James Davenport, who went runner.
Yeah, both cards, one copy remaining in his deck.
Okay, let's go to the sideboards here. Let's go to James this time.
All right. He has his 3rd and 4th Huntmaster of the Fells. Don't think they'll be coming in. He has 2 Zealous Conscripts, which I like. He has 2 Mizium Mortars, which I really like.
Yes.
Big fan of Mizium Mortars in this matchup. Other than that, I mean, Naturalize can get Oblivion Ring.
And the Key Rune. Because Matt does need his mana. Because he wants to be able to do multiple things if he can every turn. And to be able to knock out a Key Rune and to be able to take care of that Oblivion Ring on his Jace, that could be a very helpful card.
The card I would actually lean towards and over that would be Crushing Vines.
Okay.
Because it has that plus the additional ability to kill a Restoration Angel. So Crushing Vines probably has enough targets. I might leave the Naturalizes at home. Especially knowing it says now that it's much easier with Matt's list in front of me.
No, of course.
I could see that Matt has 2 Oblivion Rings and 4 Key Runes. Killing a Key Rune not the greatest thing in the world, like the 3/3 that the Key Rune provides is not overwhelming for Jin's deck, but
okay. Matt on the sideboard has 2 Rare Revelations, 2 Deathrat Shamans, 1 Lingering Souls, 1 Angel of Serenity, 1 more Oblivion Ring, 4 Centaur Healers, 1 more Sever of the Bloodline to go with the 2 he has. 2 Underworld Connections and 1 Vault of the Archangel. Underworld Connections to speed up the card draw?
Maybe. I actually like, as a source of card advantage, I actually like Matt's Planeswalkers better. There's only so many options you have, and there's also like the thing where Matt needed all of his mana.
Oh yeah.
Especially against the card that might be good against is Mizium Mortars. That's definitely one of the cards. Or like, he also saw James's 1 Blasphemous Act. So he might want something to recover from sweepers a little better, but I think his Planeswalkers do that well for him.
Okay. We had a request to put up James' deck list soon. We can review that for you really quick. The original starting deck had 4 Thragtusk, 2 Huntmaster of the Felds, 2 Snapcaster Mages, 4 Think Twice, 4 Pillar of Flame, 3 Dissipate, 3 Farseek, 2 Cyclonic Rifts, 2 Mizium Mortars, a Blasphemous Act, 1 Devil's Play, 4 Jace, 2 Tomeo. He's got all the lands available, the ones of note, 1 Desolate Lighthouse and 2 Evolving Wilds, which you saw one of them on screen. We went through his sideboard, 2 more additional Huntmaster of the Felds, 2 Zealous Conscripts, 2 Jace Memory Adept, 3 Negates, 2 Mizium Mortars, 2 Naturalized, 1 Crushing Vines, and 1 Memory's Journey. We also had another thing come up that says that AJ Soccer's deck list. His deck list will be done as a deck tech soon for a Grim Mage out there. Just so you know, there will be a deck tech video of him coming up relatively soon in the near future. As we try to be here interactive with us, if you want to tweet us, you can tweet us at SCG Live or hashtag SCGINDY. We have a computer here all weekend that we are keeping track of everything here for you and trying to answer your questions as quickly as you can get them to us. And myself and Adam love to answer questions because that's our way of interacting with you and letting you know what's going on. Game 2. Man in the play.
Likely. He lost all game. He was just dominating. I actually kind of like Devil's Play or whatever was a big card for James in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just got to put a ton of mana in play and just fireball, flash it back, you're dead.
We do have a question that this probably is more directed towards you. Do you think he could have played Killing Wave in the sideboard for Sargarda? And that would have been AJ's deck.
I don't believe that works. I believe Killing Wave, you pay X life or sacrifice it, if I'm not mistaken. And Sargarda says you cannot sacrifice creatures.
Oh, okay. That probably is correct.
So Killing Wave would probably not be the correct answer, assuming that I don't have the card in front of me, but if Killing Wave is pay X or sacrifice, then that's not the answer you want.
I think it might have been the Killing Wave. Yeah, that's right.
The card you would probably need is something along the lines of a Mutilate. You don't have Day of Judgment. You might need a Terminus. We have Deathrite Shaman out of the board for Matthew.
Okay, and that was brought in from his sideboard.
Yep. So there's 2 copies, and that seems to be like a fast riser.
Yes. And
not even sure what Matthew wants to do with it here, other than like, heck, it eats away slowly.
Farseek by James to get another land. As we've seen with both these decks, getting mana, as many mana as quickly as possible to do it. And that's the one thing I like about having the new lands, is that Farseek now
It's
allows...
more than a basic.
Oh, that Farseek
is very, very, very good.
Okay, we have a...
Lingering Souls for Matt and an attack for 1. One thing I actually have noticed about Deathrite Shaman, you actually kind of need to work on it a little bit. You can't just naturally have your opponents do all the work. If I were to play Deathrite Shaman, I would be playing it with Evolving Wilds and likely Grizzly Salvage.
Okay.
In fact, 10K champion and my good friend, the Lauren Nolan, is doing exactly that this weekend.
Okay, we have Jace out there. Takes a +1 ability on it. Matthew will draw here. Another land. That will give him 4 land.
That gives him Sorin mana.
Again, like you talked about before, we used to have Battlecruiser Magic, which used to be Titan against Titan. Now we have back to Planeswalker battles.
Planeswalker, yeah, Planeswalker against Planeswalker.
And
I do like the Planeswalker battles because they allow creatures to help out, whereas Titans kind of invalidate the creatures. You can definitely tell, like, so Matt has a couple of creatures in play, and we're having a Planeswalker battle, you know, Jace v. Sorin, but the creatures matter in the Planeswalker fight. So
yeah, because now he has no answer. He has nothing out there to stop it from killing Jace next turn, and he used Sorin's ability to create the +1/0 token.
Yeah, so it looks like an untapped 4th land from James, and then he has to decide what he wants to do with it. If I were James, I would decide what you want to do, and then play your land. All right, so yeah, this is even more of a misstep. Yeah, you could, you know, reveal Rootbound Crag that you want to play and not pay life for.
Okay, so we have Devil's Play.
Blue card, Think Twice? Yep, that is Think Twice.
Now this will be interesting because he can afford to let that Devil's Play go away. Oh, he's going to take it.
He's going to take it.
I was going to say, I mean, he could afford to let it go away.
It's his get out of jail free card, man. All right, Devil's Play is going to kill off the Sorin. I actually like that play from James. He's not going to try and win the whole game off of Devil's Play and Flashback this time. He's going to use this card to just build up control the board a little. No. Even though he's still in a good amount of trouble. He's facing 6 power from not that big of an army.
No, but
he's also facing a Deathrite Shaman that can eat that Devil's Play fairly easily.
Yeah, there it is.
Get out of here.
Now
that still deals 2 damage.
Yeah, and the great thing about his next turn, because as we see in his hand there, he has another Sorin, which he's going to play now. He also has Thragtusk in his hand too. So not only is he going to make his tokens better, he's going to make another one. So now he will swing in for 6.
Yep.
Okay.
I actually love Matt's play of Sorin here. Too many people try and build it to the ultimate. We saw that earlier today, where it builds up to the ultimate, and the ultimate was like relatively underwhelming. But Matt is guaranteeing himself some value, and even once James sweeps, Matt has something to show for. He has those Sorin emblems.
And that's fine. He'll create another token right here
Exactly.
to put out there along with Thragtusk.
And it'll be a
turn.
much better token
Yes.
than it would if Matt was just building up loyalty.
Yeah, and well, yeah, and he's got. Wow, he's going to bring out the Key Ruin this turn.
Key Ruin, Flashback, Lingering Souls. For just 3/1 flyers. No big deal.
Yeah, he's sitting with Restoration Angel in his hand and Thragtusk.
That's a good 2-card hand to have.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
we saw James win from a worse position last game. So
he does have Dissipate. Looks like 2 more lands, maybe Thragtusk in his hand. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the ability to go back to the graveyard with the Think Twice. No, yeah, the Think Twice.
Just
is
the
still
Think
in there.
Twice, but
yeah.
not the Devil's Play. The Devil's Play is done for.
Okay.
I believe James actually has to play this Thragtusk to stay alive.
Well, he keeps.
Trying to figure out which mana he wants to tap. I don't think it matters.
Okay, because he's going to swing in for
9 in the air.
Yeah. So does he? Yeah, because that.
I believe maybe James is one of it. Maybe James did bring in his naturalized. Oh, he's going for gold. He's Think Twicing.
Tomeo, but that's not going to help him here.
So James just concedes.
Well, let's see.
Got him. Show you naturalize.
Naturalize. See, there
and
you
then
go.
concede. Okie dokie. Unless I'm missing something in James' hands, he just decided to not play Thragtusk and take lethal damage.
I think he's counting it up right now.
All right.
Okay.
And run to game 3.
Well, we have another question for you, Adam.
We do. I love questions.
I love questions. Okay.
What
Adam.
would I play if I were not commentating?
Yes.
All right, so my friend Taylor Gunn is playing a Runechanter's Pike deck. I've been playing it some on Magic Online. Basically, last week in Providence, I saw Milton Figueroa on stream on SCG Live, and he was playing a blue-white, like he had Geist of Saint Traft,
Okay.
some Augur Bolus, a ton of spells. And he used cards like Feeling of Dread, Unsummon, and equipped it, suited the guy up with a Runechanter's Pike and attacked for lethal. He had played 2 very impressive games against Red Black Zombies. Thought he was losing both games, but he was able to use like Feeling of Dread. He had Moment of Heroism in his deck. To give his guys lifelink, get him out of range.
Yeah.
It was a very impressive looking deck, and I played around with it some. And I would basically be playing a variant of what he played.
I mean, I know we're used to seeing Vapor Snag because of the life loss involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
Unsummoned's still a very good card.
Unsummon is still playable.
Yes.
That is very. It is significantly worse when you're like a lot of times Delver decks would just like nickel and dime you. That 3 damage you took from Delver was a little bit more painful when you had surprise Vapor Snags coming at you all the time. But yeah, Unsummon is still like a fairly solid card. Still very playable.
Jerry Thompson, the king of the Vapor Snag. I don't think there was a deck he played throughout that whole period that did not have 4 Vapor Snags in it.
Yeah.
And of course,
zombies with Vapor Snag.
if it was possible, that'd be great.
Oh, I definitely remember a playtest video where Jerry T had Treacherous Pit Dweller, I believe is the card.
Yeah.
The one that undies to your opponent's side of the board. Yep.
Unsummon.
Yeah, I'll take that back. Thank you very much. So it looks like we got game 3 coming up between Matthew Eitel and James Davenport.
For those of you just joining us, we are at SCG Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Robert Martin.
And I'm Adam Prozac.
And we are glad to have you on coverage here on Saturday afternoon in beautiful Indianapolis.
One of my favorite cities.
Like I said before, there's lots of good things to do here.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that like Indy is actually like a really cool place to be in the city. Like India, what do you think of Indiana? I think of basketball and farms.
Yes.
But like everything's like people are really nice here. The city's well laid out. Like there's tons of options downtown. Like people actually come downtown that live in Indy. I know I live in Cincinnati and I don't go downtown Cincinnati.
I've been to downtown Cincinnati previously. Yeah.
It's a little rough, but downtown Indy is a wonderful place to be.
Yeah, there's plenty of places to go eat. I think that looks like a mull coming from James potentially there. Two lands.
I don't think he's decided yet.
Okay, I was gonna say that.
This man hasn't looked at his hand.
No. He does have the mortars.
Looks like it's a keep. Not positive I see a second land.
Okay, we have.
He's too fast.
Yeah.
James is too fast for me.
Matt, we have a rest. Oh, he's going to keep the two
there is a second
lands.
land.
Okay.
But just 2 lands.
Okay, looks like we're going to be Shaman again. Oh, Arbor Elf.
Arbor Elf makes his debut in this match.
Okay.
And if I was James, I would have Mizian Mortars that in 0.5 seconds.
You know, and which I don't understand is because the fact is you want to be able to. I mean, Matthew's trying to accelerate as quickly as he humanly can to get to where he needs to get to. He looks like he kept one land. Oh no, he's got the
isolated chapel. Yeah.
He'll think twice at the end of turn. James will. Thragtusk. That's an Evolving Wilds, I believe, in his hand.
Yes, that is. And that is what is going to have to suffice for his 3rd land. So unless James wants to, oh man, don't crack that. That you just gave Matt a mana. Cracking the Evolving Wilds here is actually like terrible for James. Now Matthew can play a 5 mana spell if he so desires.
Well, he's looking at trying to be able to have Dissipate mana up or things like that.
Yeah, you wait until the end of the turn.
Yeah.
He just kind of did it on Matt's turn. So it looks like we'll have a key rune that may or may not get negated from James. Let me see. It's key runes in.
And then he'll use immediately to get the land.
So no, he actually wanted to get to think twice.
Oh, to think twice, okay.
But he cannot do that because the Deathrite Shaman's remove a sorcery ability or remove an instant or sorcery ability.
Yes.
Requires black mana. So yeah, Matthew with only 2 lands. Yet James is allowing him to keep 4 mana in play by not negating the key rune and mortarsing or devil's playing the Arbor Elf, which I think is a huge mistake on James's part once again.
And he passed turn.
So Matthew draws another land, but he did miss his land drop on turn 3. That's his turn 4 and that's his 3rd land.
All right, so he's going to look to play a Thragtusk here.
Yep. Likely to get dissipated.
You may have overheard on the screen that it was time in the round, but obviously they get extra time being a feature match. So
all right, so James decides to let the Thragtusk go. Apparently not that threatening of a card. Draws another negate and probably answer with a Thragtusk of his own. Maybe
just passes back again.
No, taking 2 life and probably either Thragtusk or Tameo.
Okay. Oh, he took the 2 life. Okay.
Yes.
I thought he made the motion with his hand to pass. But
he's got his dice. He's committing cardinal sin number 1 of tournament magic, using dice for life totals.
All All right, that will take James back up to 22 life.
Yep.
All right, the Lingering Souls.
I believe that's a second copy. There's also the Angel Serenity from Matt's sideboard. There's one copy of it, and it is now in his hand.
All right, looks like he wants to get that mana. By the way, he has the Isolated Chapel put aside. Okay, they're going to trade.
Nope. Matthew decides that he prefers Creature Ultimatum, which I like. Creature Ultimatum puts Matthew at up to 30 life and gives him a 5/3, a 3/4 flyer, and a 3/3 beast.
Ah, that's nothing. That's nothing.
What can Thragtusk do for you today?
Yes.
Alright, so looks like more Thragtusks.
You know, we used to joke about this with Primeval Titan.
What the?
Titan. Now it's Thragtusk.
Yeah, it even comes a little earlier. There's a lot fewer people going on the mono ramp plan.
Okay, you're swinging for 3 to take James down to a whopping 24.
The low life total of 24. And once again, Matthew missing land drop after land drop, but allowed to keep his mana in play.
2 Arbor Elves that one of them, like you said, for sure should not be around.
Right.
I like what Matthew does. He takes the Arbor Elf and puts it in his lands. So you may look at it of thinking, oh, it's not really, it's a land. I mean, I don't know if that's strategic on his part or just, you know, the way he's thinking.
Sometimes it's helpful in the same way that I hate Spreading Seas and Abundant Growth. I like counting pieces of cardboard when counting my mana, so he might just put his Arbor Elf down by his land so he can count that he has 5 pieces of cardboard.
Okay, well, it looks like he just played Mizium Mortars.
Yeah, it's going to be a very crippling blow. However, Matt does have a lot of time to work with. If he can, I would have did not trade with the Thragtusk for his Beast token Remnant.
So,
but Matthew decided to get aggressive. Got to get James below 20 life. Looks like Overgrown Tomb for Matt untapped, and that means I believe Lingering Souls and Flash it back. Yep.
that will provide also offense for him if he chooses to use them offensive to swing through.
Or it could provide fake cards to put in Matthew's hand as he gets back-to-back overloaded spells.
Wow.
Maybe there's something to this ramp plus overload spell deck.
Well, we talked about Blue-Red Delver earlier. Maybe it's not Blue-Red Delver we should be looking at. Maybe it's Rug.
This is more of a... Yeah, this is probably a better shelf for a lot of the overload spells because James is going to play like some card drawing and some ramp to make his overload spells very, very powerful.
And with Thragtusk, he has the time to survive it. You know,
everybody has time when they have Thragtusk. That's why these games are going a lot longer. Maybe James is onto something strategically here.
Well, like you said, we have not defined the format yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have Blue-White Delver as the deck. I mean, we have lots of theories, but James keeps going like this. It's looking very good. He's sitting with 2 negates in his hand. So basically, anything...
I believe Restoration Angel is going to come down to try and block. If that's dissipated...
Devil's Play.
Devil's Play for James. That does it. Back-to-back overload spells and a miracle game 1 gets James in a pretty exciting match.
Now he's managed to